What's up, guys? Dylan Olsen Art here with a new Chibi and Kawaii tutorial. In this video, we are going to be drawing Mulan from the Disney classic. So, get a piece of paper, get a good pencil, let's begin. So the first thing we want is, it's basically like a soft square shape, and it's slightly slanted to the side a little. And then for her body, you're going to draw it's kind of like a top half of a oval or capsule shape, because she's going to be like turned to the side and she's going to be looking this way. And then we put in a center line, well, a line that tells us where her eyes are going to fall, and a center line to know where the middle of her face will be. And remember to draw very lightly, so that way when you make mistakes, you can erase them real easily. And then we're going to draw a stick shape on the side, and then carefully, right, she's going to be carrying like this. A lot of women in China carry these. They're like kind of like umbrellas. And if you remember in the movie, she is a Chinese character. No racism intended. So we're just going to draw that umbrella shape. It's kind of like an almond. Then we're going to draw an oval for her arm. That's going to indicate the arm that's holding it. So we pretty much covered the basic shapes for this chibi, or kawaii, whatever you call it. Now we need to draw her eyes. And like some of the other chibi characters we've drawn, they are kind of these almond shapes. One's going to be slightly smaller. You don't have to draw the whole eye on this side, because it's going to be like covered by the stick of her umbrella. Then I'm going to put this line here. That's going to indicate her hair. Then we're going to put a little bit of a thick line here. This will be her, that's going to be her eyelash. You can put an eyelash here. And then we also got to indicate some eyelash on the side too. So I'll draw those. You can color this in if you want. I mean, we are going to use a black colored pencil later on. And then we're going to draw these lines for the handle of her umbrella. Just put two dark parallel lines. It's just like I always say, draw lightly at first, but when you get the lines you want, you beef them up. Then we need to draw her irises for the inside of her eye. Then we're going to draw another circle inside for the pupil. And then we need to put in the highlights of these pupils in her eyes. We need to give her her nose and her lips, which are going to go like this. It's basically a seagull with a shallow U, with a straight U shape and a more shallow U shape, like that. Now we can define the side of her face a little bit, like this. Darken these lines. So here's her hair. Here's a small flock right here. And then we are going to draw this V shape right here. This will be the top line of her hair. And before we get to her hair, we need to define her umbrella. Her Chinese umbrella. I feel like they call it something in China. So I'm just gonna beef in that line. Gotta put, this is like the top part of the umbrella. We gotta put these fold lines that all umbrellas have. Here's the back side. Here's the back side of her hair. Before we get to her, we need to get her collar. Here's the back side of her head. And then we need to connect the top side of her hair with these shapes. Then we need to bring this down right here. That's the back side of her hair. And now we need to draw her body. Here's her arm. She's wearing a dress that some women wear in Japan. So you'll just put this curve here and put that, make sure it folds right there. And now we need to draw her hand that's holding the umbrella. We need to put 3 fingers there. No, actually, only 3 fingers there. Here's her palm and a thumb, and then you can put in the end of her umbrella right here with a simple square that's connected to this line. Here's the back side of her dress. And then she's got some kind of waistband on her dress. So we're gonna draw like 3 different rectangles. A skinny one on top, a thick one in the middle, and then here's the last one that goes like this. Then you're gonna draw this side of the dress. That's the back side. A curve that goes slightly down here. And then you can draw the bottom curve right here. There it is. Then you can connect her hair just like that. What we can do now is we can take our eraser and remove some unwanted elements. Like we've got a lot of guidelines for her head sticking in her hair, so let's get rid of those. Below her eyes. So let's color in, let's erase these guidelines. Any line that sticks outside of the dark lines we put, you should get rid of those. There's some in her umbrella handle, in her collar, erase the ones in her arm, her dress, then you can go back over some lines that you already put, well, lines that you accidentally erase. And that is your basic drawing of a Chibi Mulan. Now we get to do the fun part. It's where we color in. You've done all the hard work already. All you gotta do now is put some colors in her like you would in a coloring book or any project. So let's start with her hair, which is black, and we'll put it on her hair. And remember to always use the side of your pencil when you color in anything, because it's more effective and it saves you energy and time. So I'm just gonna take the side of my pencil and color in. And as long as it's fairly possible, I like to go all in one direction because it's, well, more effective, it's cleaner, and it's nicer. Here's this side of her hair. Get the bottom of her hair as well. And then we color in her eyes, but not the highlights. Those stay white. And if you want to go over your eyelashes, you can too. Because I probably should. Put a little more. Sometimes it's okay to use more than one layer. of coloring. Depends on what you're trying to do. Okay, then we need to color in her dress. Well, the top half of it anyway. It is a pale or yellowish green. Let me get rid of these guidelines first. So only do this part. This is going to be a darker green. So we only color this bottom part right here. That's all the pale green. Her waistband, the middle square, is going to be red. Try to stay in the lines if possible. And then the two bands, they're actually going to be a darker blue, a dark blue. So color in those areas. And then we need to color in her dress, which is yellow. And her lips, I guess you could go ahead. They're going to be pink. And her collar is a darker green. So we only color this part here. Let's bring back out the red again, because we need to make the tip of the bottom tip of her umbrella red, and the top tip as well. So we only color these two parts. I forgot to close off the bottom tip right here, so I'll put a line there, and then I'll color in. And let's bring the light green back out, because we need to make the body of the handle of her umbrella a light green. This is probably where you can use the tip. And her umbrella itself, it's going to be a baby blue. So I'm just gonna color in just gonna go back over my lines. Okay, now we need to color in her eyes, which are going to be a brown. So I'll color in those eyes. Maybe go back over my pupils just a bit. And now we're almost done we are going to use peach for her skin. So I'll color in her hand. And now I'm going to color in her face. Just gonna color. We got the bottom one, and then the left side. And once you're done with that, you've made your very own drawing of a Chibi Mulan. If you feel like you did good on your drawing, that's great. If you feel like you need to try again, feel free to do so. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Bye.